Welcome to today's explainer. We're rolling out a major communication toolkit upgrade designed specifically for you, the healthcare professional. If you're looking to speak English with absolute confidence at work, well, we're moving way beyond just memorizing endless vocabulary lists. Today, we're going to master the essential structures that make you sound polished, professional, and entirely natural.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our 5-step blueprint for achieving clearer professional communication today. 1. Answering questions. 2. Spatial precision. 3. Descriptive accuracy. 4. Adjective structure. And 5. The blueprint in action. Starting right off with Section 1. Answering questions naturally.
So, you know how it is. You're busy on a shift, someone fires off a question, and your gut instinct might be to just answer with a quick yes or no. But honestly, simply saying yes or no can actually sound a bit unnatural or even abrupt in an English-speaking workplace. Let's walk through this incredibly easy 3-step formula for answering questions perfectly every single time. Step 1. Listen closely to the question. Step 2. Hunt for the auxiliary verb. We're talking words like do, has, am, or are. And Step 3. Simply use that exact same verb in your answer. Basically, you're hunting for that auxiliary verb rather than relying on the main action verb.
And this brilliantly illustrates why that matters. Take a look at this incredibly common beginner mistake. Do you work at the hospital? Yes, I work. Now, it feels right because, well, you're repeating the action, right? But actually, scratch that, it's totally incorrect. Compare that to the natural way. Do you work at the hospital? Yes, I do. See what happened there? You grab that auxiliary verb do right from the start of the question and drop it straight into your answer. Boom, done.
What's great is how this simple mirroring rule applies seamlessly across all sorts of different tenses and verbs. Have you got a stethoscope? Yes, I have. Did you finish the chart? No, I didn't. Are you a nurse? Yes, I am. It just takes the guesswork completely out of the equation. It keeps your workplace responses quick, polite, and completely natural to native ears.
Moving right along to Section 2, Spatial precision with prepositions.
Listen, in a fast-paced medical setting, spatial awareness is literally everything. Misusing prepositions of place isn't just some tiny academic grammar mistake. It can literally mean the difference between instantly finding a patient's chart or completely losing track of a wheelchair when you need it most. So let's quickly break down the 4 critical prepositions of place by anchoring them directly to highly visual, relatable scenarios. We use in for inside something, like the syringes are in the drawer. We use on for a flat surface. The chart is on the table. Under means below something, the wheelchair is under the bed, and near means close by but not touching, like a nurse near the patient.
So here's a quick question for you. Why do we say a patient is in a room, but a chart is on a wall? The helpful tip to remember here is that in always implies a closed space, like a box, a bag, or a room. But on strictly requires a flat surface. Think a desk, a table, or indeed a wall. Keep that visual boundary in your mind, and you for sure won't get them confused.
Now, let's step into Section 3, Descriptive accuracy with opposites.
Trying to learn adjectives in isolated, endless lists? Yeah, that can take forever. But learning them in opposite pairs, that drastically speeds up your descriptive vocabulary memory. Your brain simply loves to categorize things this way. Let's rapid fire through some absolute essentials. Fast and slow, cheap and expensive, clean and dirty, easy and difficult, full and empty, safe and dangerous, good and bad. For instance, working night shifts might be difficult, but knowing these pairs makes your day shifts easy. Describing whether a new medication is cheap versus expensive becomes an absolute breeze when you always pair the concepts together in your mind.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is a very specific and critical physical nuance in English anatomy descriptions. See, many languages use just one single word for the entire limb, but in English, the hand is strictly the part from the wrist down to the fingers. The arm is everything from the wrist all the way up to the shoulder. As a medical professional, making this distinction perfectly clear is obviously crucial for accurate patient descriptions.
We also really need to highlight a critical exception for size descriptions. When do you actually use tall versus high? Well, tall is used exclusively for a person or an animal. A patient is tall, but a mountain or a building, those are high. In fact, if you take a helicopter pad up to the roof of the hospital, you are high up. You don't suddenly become tall just because you're standing at the top of a building.
But let's transition into Section 4, Perfecting Adjective Structure.
So, English has some pretty strict structural rules for adjectives that frequently trip people up, especially when using the verb to be. But I promise, once you see the pattern, it becomes total second nature. After the verbs am, is, or are, you have exactly two acceptable distinct paths to perfectly describe someone or something. Path 1, subject plus the verb plus the adjective. The doctor is rich. Simple. Path 2, subject plus the verb plus the article a or an, then the adjective, ending with a noun. The doctor is a rich man.
So the absolutely crucial point here is do not mix these two structures together. Notice this broken chain. The doctor is rich man. This is a super common error that completely misses that tiny little article a. You must choose a complete, unbroken structure. It's either the doctor is a rich man or simply the doctor is rich. Keep them separate and your grammar stays flawless.
Once you have those core structures down, you can effortlessly make any adjective stronger using modifiers. We're talking words like very, really, quite, and the slightly more informal pretty. For example, at the end of a grueling 12-hour shift, you aren't just tired. You can say, we are really tired. You just drop that modifier right in front of the adjective without changing the base grammar structure at all.
And honestly, here is a huge relief for language learners. If you speak a language like Russian, where adjectives are constantly shape-shifting based on gender or number, forget all of that. In English, adjectives stubbornly stay the exact same. A big city becomes big cities. The noun changes, sure, but the adjective big never changes form for gender or number. It is always just big. It's one less thing for you to worry about.
Let's move to our final segment and see how all of this builds together. Section 5, the blueprint in action.
This is where we get to talk about collocations. A collocation is just a fixed combination of words that native English speakers naturally use together in a very strict order. It's really the rhythm of the language. The ironclad rule here is that the adjective always comes before the noun. Blue jeans, white shirt, fast food, yellow taxi, old book, big city. Notice that rhythm? The word order does not change. Even if you add the word very, or if you turn the whole sentence into a question, the adjective remains locked securely right in front of the noun. It is literally never jeans blue or a city big. Always, always adjective, then noun.
And that brings us to our golden takeaway for this explainer. When you practice, try to make your own sentences using your work context. Look, to truly master this toolkit, you need to immediately anchor these abstract rules to your actual medical workspace. Instead of repeating some generic textbook sentence, say to yourself, the medicine cabinet is near the nurse's station. Or maybe ask a colleague, is the equipment safe? Yes, it is. Making it directly relevant to your daily life is exactly how you make the grammar stick for good.
So I want to leave you with this final practical challenge. If you look around your workspace right now, how many objects can you perfectly describe using an auxiliary verb, a short answer, a spatial preposition, and an opposite adjective? Go ahead, give it a try on your very next shift. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer and keep practicing those structures.